You are listening to Tom Talks Online Marketing Podcast, bringing practical solutions for today's online marketing dilemmas. Now here's the owner of Total Online Marketing and host, Derrel Allen.
Everybody, thank you for joining us on the Online Marketing Podcast. I'm Derrel Allen with Total Online Marketing. With me is my co-host, Kris with a K.
Kris O'Connor.
And we have our very special guest today, Eric Hogue. Eric comes to us from that wonderful little place slightly northeast of Dallas called Wylie. Wide Awake Wylie. When I was a kid growing up, is what we called it. I think you call it 39 acres of heaven on earth.
39 square miles.
Square miles, excuse me. Yeah, absolutely.
And Wide Awake Wylie is the official logo of the town. That was
go.
Incorporated in 2011 when the mayor signed the proclamation and put it into law.
Who was that mayor at
Well,
the
that
time?
would have been me at the
There
time.
you
Yes,
go.
yes.
So, former mayor Eric Hogue of Wylie, Texas. He's now gone on into some other things, and that's what we want to talk about because he has a very interesting industry. And I don't say interesting as in, oh, wow, that's what everybody wants to do, but it's interesting because it has such ebb and flows, and it really can use a lot of things with the various marketing techniques. And it's your own brokerage, right?
Well, I'm a member of a brokerage. It's called Integrity Plus Real Estate. And my team leader, who I'd known for many years, who encouraged me to get into real estate after I left corporate America, said, why don't you get your real estate license? And I'm like, I don't know if I could sell a house. And Kathy Spilliards is our broker. She said, you sell Wylie, Texas every day, you could sell a house. And so then I did what everyone else does, a Google search on real estate agents to see how much money they make annually. And the average, any ideas of what an average real estate agent makes every year?
I have no clue.
This was in
It's not as much as people think.
No, this was in 2013. I looked it up, proudly went out to my wife, Tammy, and said, I don't think we can do this. The average real estate agent makes $15,000 a year.
Oh,
And she's like, no, you can't do that. And so I talked to Kathy, and she said, well, you have to keep in mind how many real estate agents there are, because people will get their license thinking I'll just sell real estate on the side. And they might have maybe one transaction a year.
Mm-hmm.
She said, so you compare that to the person who's doing 20 or 30 or 40 transactions a year, and they're all lumped in together. So that's why the average is that. She said, I'm going to show you what you need to do in order to make this a real profession and make it a real career. And some of the things that I learned from the get-go after I got my license and was actually a real estate agent was you got to have a marketing plan. And that's what you guys know inside and out, right?
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that a lot of people don't really think about. They're going to stick their sign in the yard and everybody's going to run to them. It doesn't work that way. You also have to have a business plan, and you have to think of it as a business and what you need to make that business happen. And so a lot of times a person will get their license. They don't have that knowledge, that mindset. They think they're just going to sell a house. And it's so much more than that. It's almost like anything else you go to do, you know, the hobby that you want to turn into a business. You love making whatever it is you're making, but there's that, you know, it's like the people that talk about show business, you know, there's more business than show. And that's the same in any industry. There's more business than the actual thing that you love to do. And that's one of the things that I learned right from the get-go.
So take care of the business, and then the rest of it will take care of itself.
Absolutely.
I know I had a friend. Unfortunately, she's not with us anymore, but I went and helped her for a short period of time, and they love to teach farming. I never saw the value in that.
Right.
I felt like you were wasting a lot of money in that farming and mailing out those flyers or those cards, those postcards. I don't know. Are they successful?
Well, you know, there's a lot of different people that will tell you what you need to do to be successful in real estate. Even in the time that we're going to spend talking today, I cannot begin to tell you how many emails I'll get talking to me about doing farming or about how I need to update my webpage, you know, that are just automated emails that will come in telling me what to do. You have to be able to weed out that stuff and realize what works best for you. Because think about it, when you get that postcard in your mailbox, and You get it in a mailbox. How much mail do you get today that's real mail? You gotta think like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you throw it away.
Mhm.
Now, to me, here's the difference. Here's what always worked for me, or has worked for me and continues to work for me, is real estate's a personal business. Buying a house is one of the biggest, if not the biggest expense you will ever do in your life.
Mhm.
Who will you trust to help you do that? A stranger or someone you know? And so one of the things that I found in my 14 years of doing real estate, because this is a second career for me, is that I need to keep my connections open. So talking about the marketing side of it, this past year has not been the best year for real estate. Interest rates are high. It's become a buyer's market. The days are gone when we were, 3 or 4 years ago that you did put a sign in the yard and you might have 40 offers on that house.
Mhm.
It's not that way today. So how do you keep on top of people's minds? So every 2 weeks, I have a newsletter that goes out to anyone that's ever done real estate with me, all my former clients, current clients, just a reminder. And it's a personal email too. It's not one of these that I buy from somewhere and it's got all the data and everything loaded for me. It's stuff that I find and I put in there and I send to them. And it's real fancy because it says at the bottom, you don't want this email from me anymore. Just shoot me back a notice and I'll take you off the list. It's not where unsubscribe here. It is literally an email from me. And that's brought me more business
Mhm.
in the last 3 or 4 months because I started doing it in January because it's personal and it's a good reminder that, hey, that's my agent. Even the subject line says, here's an email from your agent, from your real estate agent.
Mhm.
It's, to me, the best business as far as marketing tool to use
Mhm.
is reminding your contacts that you're a real estate agent.
I don't disagree with you because there's also another lady that actually sold my house in Murphy. Like she did the same thing, and then every summer she'd have this big party for all her, and she'd bring them out to a location, and it'd be a big picnic and music, and it was a big to do. And sometimes she'd have 200-300 people there, the families, and but she did it all from a newsletter.
Right. And another thing I do, how I've gotten from real estate agents before, it's your birthday. Okay. Why would you want to wish me happy birthday? We did a business transaction together. So I never saw that as a warm fuzzy, But what if I send you a little card on the day of when we closed on your house? And I just want to thank you again for giving me that business. And I hope everything's going well with the home. And if I can ever be of any help, please reach out to me. No one else thinks of your day that you closed on your house, but I've got it. It's written down. It's in my files.
Why not use it?
And
Happy anniversary.
Exactly. It's
Was-
different.
I mean,
Betty used to do that
It
too.
actually ties that personal contact point together as
Absolutely.
opposed to just some arbitrary number.
She'd
out
send
there.
a little
Right.
gift certificate to Henry's Homemade Ice Cream, and they'd go buy a ice cream cone to celebrate.
Where is Henry's? Henry, do you need to be on the podcast?
Henry's is in Plano. He's been around forever. I know Henry.
So you probably had some other marketing experiences. And one thing I know, because we actually are friends on like LinkedIn, I
Right.
see that you make posts on LinkedIn. And tell me, because we're here looking at what works, what doesn't work, what's helpful, not helpful. How do you find LinkedIn for what you're doing?
For what I want to accomplish, it works very well because it's a business social media site. It's not a Facebook is my wife is big into Facebook. She likes keeping up.
It's families.
Yeah, it's families. Exactly what it is. And she'll say, "Oh, look, this is going on." I've never been on Facebook. One of the reasons why, as the mayor, I didn't want to be on Facebook because I find that people will respond back to things that they don't like or necessarily like, and so
You'll get into pothole issues.
exactly. And I didn't want to do that. The city had a Facebook page. If I needed to post anything, I did that on there. Since then, I've not needed it. I have an Instagram page, and I have one that's for my real estate business that is public, and it's all about real estate. And then I have my personal one where there might be pictures of my grandchildren on there, and I don't want to necessarily share that with the whole world. It's, private with just my 563 friends that I have out there.
There you go.
And so, but I do find with LinkedIn, it really does help me to keep my name out there from a business standpoint. And one of the things I found that's interesting, because given my nature, I do the real estate, and that is my bread and butter, but I also love public speaking. I was the mayor of a town, and I love public speaking. One of my heroes, and who really did have a huge impact on me, was Zig Ziglar. Y'all remember Zig Ziglar?
Yes.
And he was
Me too.
phenomenal. He
Mm.
was amazing. And so one of the things I like to do is public speaking as well. And I was a member of some different groups at a time that I was like, should I have a LinkedIn page for my real estate? Should I have another LinkedIn page for my speaking business? And they were like, no, because you want people to find you. And so if you will notice on my LinkedIn page, you'll see my speaking on there. You'll see my real estate on there, those type of things. Just this past week, I don't know if y'all remember Tom Dreesen.
Oh, yes. I saw
He
your
was
post.
a comedian, and he at Wylie High School had this slogan, Almo, and it was chanted. It was the battle call in all the football games. Tom Dreesen, who was the opening act for Frank Sinatra for many years, he was the fill-in host many years for David Letterman. He's from Chicago, and that was something he came up with. And one of our old coaches, Jerry Schaefer, back in 1977, heard him on a Dean Martin roast and heard him talk about Almo, came back, told his guys, and they went on to win the state championship, and Almo became our battle cry. When 2014, I think it was, Tom actually came to Wylie, Texas.
Really?
I had a chance to get to know him and visit with him. We just lost him this past Wednesday, age of 86, but he was phenomenal. And so I don't know where I was even going with the Tom Dressel story, but it's a good story to talk about how
On your LinkedIn
on
page.
my LinkedIn I
Right,
about
included
him,
something
honor him
personal.
as well, because of the impact that he made in Wylie, Texas.
And you've been making the point of like real estate is a personal business, a personal relationship style business. So making yourself personable on your LinkedIn or any other profile for that matter is quite beneficial if that's the kind of people you're trying to reach.
Right.
And so you're talking about your speaking. So I guess all of your life you've been out there just speaking, been very outgoing from the very beginning, right?
So no.
Did that sound like a lead-in question there?
Yeah. I was very much an introvert when I was a kid, up until I was around 15 years old. And I gotta tell you, there was this guy in town that he used to put on his marquee. He was not my biggest fan. He had a business in town, and he would put on there, "Mayor is a clown." And he thought he was being very derogatory. He was actually being very truthful, because that is how I paid for college. I was a professional clown. When I was about 15 years old, there was a talent show at the church I attended, and I wanted to be in it, but I was scared to death to be in front of people. I was the kid that I would take a failing grade on a book report before I'd stand up in front of my class. But I had this idea. I wanted to do something funny. And I figured out if I could do it with no one knowing who I was, the clown makeup, I won first place. I thought that was the greatest thing in the world. And I started, my parents saw that, they encouraged it. I started doing shows, birthday parties, and that grew into bigger shows, and ended up representing a hamburger chain you might be familiar with, that I wore a yellow suit with a big red wig and striped socks, but that's how I paid for college. And I think that, had there not been a clown, there would have never been a mayor. So there may be some constituents out there say, I wish you'd never become a clown. But
what was your clown name?
Clinky the Clown.
Clinky the Clown.
Clinky the Clown. Now, when my sons were little, by that point in time, I wasn't wearing clown makeup as much. And I say as much. I was still doing the occasional birthday party and all, and doing school visits because I would help with the library. But I would start telling them stories. And those stories turned into my book, my children's book, written for 9 to 12-year-olds, 36,000 words, 24 chapters, by the way.
Available on Amazon?
Available on Amazon, yes, sir. Clinky the Clown and the Secret of Happyville. See, one thing that my parents really got across to me is you can do anything. And, we try to, this is Eric Hogue's soapbox, so I think that we try to teach people or tell people a lot of times, this is the box you're in. This is what you are.
Mm-hmm.
We're so much more than that. And I was fortunate to have any harebrained idea that I'd come up with. My parents said, you can do it. You can do it, you know. And because of that, I still have that philosophy. So I've written a book, you know. When my corporate job played out, I became a real estate agent. You know, I love speaking, and I've gone all over the country speaking. I didn't know you couldn't do that. And so I just did it. That's the philosophy that I have.
I didn't know you could do a podcast, so. But
And
here I
you are
am.
today.
Yeah, I know. And some of the other things that you've been in, you talked about the clowning part. The clowning part includes a little bit of magic. So
It does.
I think maybe you might be the past president of Texas Association of Magicians,
Yes, sir, I am.
past president of Dallas Magic Club.
Yes, sir.
And there you go. You kind of, and you're friends with a lot of people in the magic community too. Would
Yes,
that
sir.
be true?
That would be true. I was
Any
just-
names you want to drop?
Well, it was 10 years ago, this month in June, that David Copperfield, a dear friend of mine, we were both in Washington, D.C., and we both addressed the U.S. House of Representatives about House Resolution 642, naming magic as an art form. And it was a resolution that he and I brought forward to a U.S. Congressman, Pete Sessions. He got it on the docket, and we were able to go speak to the members of the House, which was very cool.
That is
Let me tell you.
pretty
That
cool.
is. That is. That shows the power of relationships once again, because obviously, being in your position as mayor, having the connection with David,
Right.
and then of course with the other political things going on, and being able to present something like that to a body such as the Congress, that's pretty impressive. I think
It's extremely
Yeah.
impressive.
And all this stuff builds up to all these little pieces put together to where you have a relationship type business. So how is real estate going today? In other words, should I sell my house? Should I look to buy another? Tell us what the real estate market is right now. I know
Right.
it
So,
may be
okay.
changing when you hear this,
We
but right
look
now,
at Dallas-Fort Worth right now. Think about your home, all right? And if you were to put your house on the market today in Dallas-Fort Worth, for example, right now, if it's in Fort Worth, because we still like to think about how we're our own little independent cities. I remember one night I was getting a hamburger at a restaurant in Murphy, the next town over from Wylie, and I was the mayor at the time. I saw a Wylie police officer there. I rolled down my window and said, "What are you doing here in this town?" "Same thing you are, mayor, getting me a burger." You know, so we tend to think of our lives as, you know, our towns that we're in. Not really. I mean, because we cross over the border all the time to get a burger or to go pick up something at the mall or whatever it might be. But right now, if you looked at the market today in Fort Worth, you'd know that a house is on the market about an average of 44 days in Fort Worth. If you look in Dallas, it's about 50 days. You know what that really means? Is that if you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, your house is going to be on the market about 44 to 55 days, bottom
There you
line,
go.
no matter where you live. So you got to be prepared for that. Your house is going to be on the market a little bit longer. On top of that, today, when you get an offer, they're going to probably come in lower than what you want. We've lived in a time where we thought we could set a price this high, and everybody's going to come in wanting to get that house. They're not. They're going to come in at a lower price. Again, it's a buyer's market. Now, that what we're experiencing right now is typical real estate, if we want to be honest. This is typically how the real estate market works.
Mhm.
We've been so unused to that because since around 2012, 2014, that's when we saw things start to turn around. And it was wonderful because that was about the time I got my license. So it was just fantastic. And then we get up to the 2020, 2021, 2022, and that's when the interest rates are so low and you put the house on the market. I remember I had one house that I was listing. It might have been worth about $500,000. I had a person who offered over $700,000 for that house. Can you imagine?
Mm.
But the houses were so few because we just come from the COVID moments, and so there weren't that many new builds, and we had those challenges. And so we're now more in a balanced market. And so your house is going to sit there for a month, 2 months, just depending.
unless you're giving it away.
Unless you're giving it away. But even if you're giving it away, That person that was used to that 3% is now going to be paying 7%. Now, I don't want to make a judgment call, but here in this room here, between the three of us, we might have had at some point an interest rate on our home that was 9 or 10%, if y'all remember that.
Oh.
Or even higher. Yeah, absolutely.
My
yes.
first home was 17. My
Yeah.
second one was 11. My third one was 7.5 or 8.
And you
So
were happy that 17%.
100,000%.
Yeah. Well, the buyer today is like, I don't think I could do that 7%. That's just ridiculous. That's the mindset today because they think of the 3% or the 2.5%.
Right.
So you've got that challenge as well. And so those are some of the things that you've got to level set your sellers, that just because we put a sign in the yard doesn't mean everybody's going to be running to it. You also have to look at the timing, because we're also kind of back to how it normally works. So school just got out. Everyone's looking for a home. Why are they looking for a home right now? They want to get moved, get the kids settled before the school year starts. Then what happens is October comes. What happens in October? Y'all know what happens in North Texas in October? A big event. The state fair. The state fair. Everything slows down.
I was going to say football,
Well,
but I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, it's actually the state fair. Everything slows down during the state fair.
No kidding.
I did not realize that, but the real estate market, for example, is one of those things that slow down. I'll even give you this. Even funerals slow down during the state fair. Now, I asked a funeral director who's a friend of mine once, I said, Danny, how's that the case? He said, well, people are still dying. It's not that they're not. But the funeral is postponed until after the state fair.
Oh,
I'm like,
my
you're
goodness.
kidding. He's like, no, it
know
really
that.
does happen. So you have that slowdown in October. November gears up. Everybody wants to start looking during or before the Thanksgiving break because they want to get it under contract so that in 30 to 45 days, the Christmas break, that's when they can move so they can get the kids in school at the beginning of the new year. And so we're back to that type of market. And that's how we have to deal with that and realize that and work with it.
Well, and like I think any business, I hate to say this, that there's no even kill. It's feast or famine.
Right.
Like, and when you're feasting, you're feasting. And when you're famining, you're famining. Right. I mean, I think all businesses go through that.
Well, and one of the things that in real estate that I think people miss is you are an independent contractor.
Mm-hmm.
You're in business for yourself. And so I made an LLC that basically every real estate check I got, I put it in that LLC and then I paid myself a salary. That way I didn't just, we can go out and blow all this money.
Right.
It was, here is your regular paycheck that you make. And that's how you do business.
Well, I think referring back to the beginning, when you say there's a lot of people who have a real estate license, but the majority of them are just part-timers. It was just like a hobby thing. Like I'll sell a house here and I'll have some cash. Right. So there is a big difference, and you treat it like a business. You follow it like a business. You have an LLC, like everything points to a business. You pay yourself from the business.
Right.
And I don't know how many real estate agents really do it that way.
And you if you're going to survive
Mm-hmm.
with this business or any business, you have to
Mm-hmm.
have some plans like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to even, a lot of folks don't want to spend any money on marketing. I don't want to throw away money on marketing. I'll preface it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that marketing is a part of my business.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be wise in how I market.
Right. You always have to be marketing, even in the feasting times.
Mm-hmm.
You always have to be marketing. And I don't think people understand that. It's when they stop the marketing and they're feasting, and then the famine starts coming, then they're like throwing money at stuff they shouldn't be throwing money at.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when I got my license, one of the things was it's sales. Am I going to be able to sell? I mean, that's something that goes through your head. And many of us will remember back when we were approached by a multi-level marketing business. You remember those days?
Mm-hmm.
And you were going to make a lot of money doing this ML.
Mm-hmm.
ML.
Emma. Mm-hmm.
And the problem is you got to be able to tell people that you're in a multi-level marketing business, you don't necessarily want to do that,
Right.
because they're going to think, what do you think you're doing? Get rich quick, that kind of mindset.
Right.
So one of the things that ran through my head when I first got my license is, am I going to be willing to tell anybody that I'm a real estate agent? I'll never forget, I just got my license and I was at Walmart. I was picking up some stuff for the family and ran into a friend that I hadn't seen in a while. And he said, what are you doing? And I just, without even thinking, reached in my pocket, got out my business card and said, I just got my real estate license. If you ever need any help, I'd appreciate you giving me a call. And from that moment, I was like, I can do this, because it's something that I'm not embarrassed to say that I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that people need. And for me, that was always a thing, is it had to be something, even when I was the mayor, it was not about the position. And people are going to say, sure, but it wasn't about because you didn't get paid to be the mayor of Wylie, Texas.
Right.
It was about, how can I leave my community better than how I found it? What can I do to help?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, again, that's partly how I was raised, as far as the servant mindset. That's how my parents were. And so that was the thing with the real estate. I can tell people, I'm not embarrassed by the fact that
Mm-hmm.
I'll help you find the home that you want,
Mm-hmm.
or I'll help you sell the home.
I know this is not about me,
Yes, sir.
but building on what you're talking about right there, one of the reasons I even got into online marketing for other people, because I was doing it obviously for myself, was I would go search for other magicians back when I was just doing magic, wasn't doing anything else. And I would see people that I didn't know, and all my friends were on page 3, 4, 5, 6 of Google. And I had the great desire, I want to help them get out of that position. And I knew how to make that happen. So that's how I really got into doing online marketing, the same way that you do with real estate. You help people that really have a need for that.
I think that's important, really. I mean, when I walked away from that business I built 5.5 years ago, like, what do I want to be now? Like, I didn't know what I wanted to be. And I just took all that knowledge. Like, I didn't know how to run a business. I worked in Wylie school systems. Okay.
Yeah.
I became the art teacher. I became the librarian with Sandy Donovan, right? I didn't know that was my training,
Right.
my management training, because I was dealing with 650 kids a week, right? Of course, in classes, not all at once. But that led me to be eager to learn how to grow a business. So I did, but the process was very challenging, right? But you have to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
We had the plan. I made the plan, executed the plan, and we moved on from there. It's really not hard if you have the plan.
And to me, part of the plan is having the confidence that you can do. So, for example, you just happened to mention Sandy Donovan.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy was the librarian at the elementary school where you work, where my wife works.
Mm-hmm.
You all happen to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Sandy Donovan just a couple of weeks ago
Mm-hmm.
because she is a retired employee of the Wylie School District. And I happen
She's
to be...
officially retired?
Supposedly.
Like
As of this podcast.
Okay.
So the thing was that I was speaking to the retired teachers. Now imagine they are expecting to hear Eric Hogue is coming. For many of them, it's the former mayor. I always like to use the word former, not the old mayor. Okay, so former. I'm not old. Okay, or Tammy's husband. That's the other thing that not come to mind a lot. So, or didn't he sell real estate? That's
what Pop didn't get in there, or
it's Pops.
Pops.
Yes,
there you go, Pops. Okay.
So they have in their mind what I am, but I'm going to be doing some magic. I'm going to be doing some speaking, and I've got just a few minutes when I get up there to show them that I can do this. Now, Sandy Donovan can understand that because she was the librarian at the Birmingham Elementary.
Mm-hmm.
But you may or may not know this, but she was the mayor pro tem of Wylie, Texas
I
back in
did
the
know that.
1980s.
I did know that.
I mean, she's done a lot of different
Mhm.
things herself. Very, very successful in the things that she's done. And so you see these folks who are former teachers or librarians or worked in the cafeteria or drove buses, that they're all retired. They all come from different areas. But in their mind, they're seeing the former mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And within 5 minutes, they weren't. They were seeing their speaker and the guy that can do magic.
Mhm.
And it was neat to see their faces when you could see it in their face that, you know, all of a sudden they became audience.
Mhm.
I've got your next book. Are
Okay.
you ready for this? How Clinky the Clown became a real estate magnificence.
Well,
No? Oh.
actually, I've got the book I'm working on right now. It's called What Now? That's the name of the book. The reason why is in 2022, on May the 10th, I woke up. It was about 1:30 in the morning, and my wife said, "We're going to the hospital. You want to go to the local emergency room or to the main hospital?" I said, "Oh, I think it's just allergies. Let's just go to the emergency room here in Wylie." Now, when I say emergency room here in Wylie, Baylor Scott and White Lake Point Medical Center has an emergency room.
Mhm.
And so I assumed we were just going to go. I was going to hear about allergies, you know, because that's what it had to be. That's what's got to be causing this pain. And when I'm laying there, they're like, "You're having a heart attack." I'm like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." And long story short, the reason why I'm calling it What's Next is within the next 8 weeks, I had a heart attack. I had to have 2 stents. I ended up having 7 kidney stones. Then I had COVID. And then on top of that, the dog died, all within an 8-week period. So
Oh,
what's
my
next?
goodness.
What else can go wrong?
Mhm.
And sometimes that's what happens in life. And what do you do with that when your life is just falling apart? When I got out of the hospital, 45% of my heart that's the strength I was at. And I was supposed to go to Las Vegas that weekend to a conference to hang out with my friend David Copperfield, as a matter of fact. We had plans for that week and didn't get to go. He said, "You're not getting on a plane. You've got to take care of that heart." And so, you know, things do happen in life, and you go, what do you do when those things happen? Because you're an independent contractor, basically, as a real estate agent. You're a speaker. You're doing all these different things that it's you doing them, and all of a sudden you can't do them, at least for a little while. And so luckily I did a full recovery. The heart's back at 100%. Everything's great. But the idea for the book is what happens when all those things happen to you, little life lessons.
Mhm.
Well, Mr. Hogue, if people listening to this or watching, if they want to reach out and either kind of get your intake on real estate things, or maybe they've been inspired by what you've said today and they want to have you as a speaker, or maybe they just want to, you know, buy you a cup of coffee, how do people reach out to Eric Hogue today?
Real easy. Just email me or visit my website, Eric Hogue at erichogue.com.
And you spell Eric Hogue Hogue.
Yes, I always like to tell them, think of Vogue. You know,
There you go.
The magazine Vogue, put an H there instead. Or think of, you know, Star Wars Rogue.
There you
put
go.
An H instead.
You got it.
And that's me, Eric Hogue.
And you're on LinkedIn, I know,
Yes,
and a
then
little
you can
bit.
look at Eric Hogue Realtor
There
on
you go.
Instagram.
So got it.
So that's how you can find me.
All right.
Or just do a search on Eric Hogue. I'll come up.
Yeah, Eric Hogue,
Former mayor, you're
former-
gonna
there,
come
so you're
up.
gonna
The
find
good,
it.
the bad, and the ugly. It'll all be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I was
And Eric is ERIC, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I was
Yes.
telling Eric a while back that I was working on some stuff on Wikipedia, and I could find some stuff on Eric Hogue. So really, he's not hard to find at all. So yeah, and it was all good. Don't worry about it. It was all good.
And I've been very blessed with the things that the little kid that was very quiet from Gravel Ridge, Arkansas, to get to do the things I've done. It's been a blast. It's been an exciting life. And
Yeah.
it is what's next.
What's
what
next?
Now? What's
Yeah.
going to happen now?
There you go.
Well, again, I think it's important to say that no matter how introverted you were, no matter how scared you were, you found a way.
Right.
Okay. And I want that lesson to be learned today. Like, I don't care how introverted, like if you want to hide behind a pillow or whatever, find a way to
Mhm.
do what you want to do, because there is a way.
That's right. Absolutely. You just have to want it bad enough. You have to want it and get with the people that will support you and encourage you. You know, my wife is my biggest supporter and my harshest critic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been that for 39 years.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, if she leaves me, I'm going with her. I mean, that's the kind of That's just, I dated her for 6 weeks and we've been married for 39 years.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Well, I had to get her to marry me before she realized that she was marrying some clown. You know? But anyway, true
That's good.
story.
That's
She
good.
first saw me as a clown, and she still went out with me.
That was a honeymoon, right?
Apparently, she wasn't afraid of clowns.
Well, I did have to ask her out about 3 times before she finally said yes, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right.
But you
Well,
wanted it bad enough,
That's
and
right, I
you went
did.
after it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there's the second lesson. You gotta want it bad
Persistent.
enough.
Yeah.
Just keep asking. Keep asking. Don't ever accept the first no or not interested. Just keep going.
That's right. Because if I hadn't, then we wouldn't have had our 2 boys, and those 2 boys led to the most beautiful, perfect things in the whole wide world. My oldest son and his wife have our 2 grandchildren, and
There
so
you
they're
go.
pretty cool, the best grandbabies in the whole wide world.
Mhm.
having been friends with Eric for quite a while, and when that first happened, oh my goodness, I would say that he was obnoxious, but he wasn't. He is a man who you can tell truly loves the things that are in his life, and that
Well, family is
obviously,
important.
Right.
you bet.
Right, absolutely.
And
I mean,
people gravitate to something like that. You know,
Mhm.
here's a man that's true to a reason, a cause, and all that. So
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
good real estate agent, if you're looking for one in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you can take care of anybody in Dallas-Fort
Oh,
Worth, right?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Anywhere
you're
in the
licensed
state
in
of
Texas.
just
Yeah.
recently, we bought a house for a client in El Paso, of all things.
There you go.
You got to think outside the box when you're in Dallas and the house is in El Paso, but if you want it, you can make it happen.
Mhm.
And that's
There
what
you
we did.
That's awesome. That's
Eric,
great.
I want to thank you so much for coming today, taking time to be with us on the marketing
Absolutely.
podcast. Chris,
Yeah.
that was pretty fun.
it
I know
really
you've
was.
known
It was-
Eric for a long time too.
Like we
so-
haven't seen each other and since
Long time.
elementary school.
That's right.
Our sons are in the same age, same grade,
Right.
like same classroom. So that's how long ago it probably has been since we even had a conversation. Although like I mentioned, I ran into your
Ran
wife
into my
Tammy,
wife,
but it's been an honor.
Well, thank
It's
you.
been a real
It's
honor.
been great to be here with you guys. Thank you so much for the invitation. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
And
Well,
remember,
Don't forget.
like, subscribe, share, and reach out to him because he really is a good guy.
You bet. Thank you guys for joining us today. We look forward to the next episode. Y'all have fun now.